Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right, last night we had ourselves a shootout between the Denver Nuggets and the Portland Trail Blazers. And in this shootout, superstars Nikola Jokic and Damian Lillard put on a show for us. Nikola Jokic had a near triple-double, scoring 33 points, while Damian Lillard dropped 40 points, hitting 9 threes and hitting 12 dimes throughout the entire game. And Damian Lillard was in his second game since his return from his calf strain injury, and he showed us yet again on why he is one of the clutchest NBA players in NBA history. Now, in this game, it was offensive firepower the whole way through, as 5 guys scored 20 points or more, and it went all the way down to who had the ball last. The Trailblazers were hot all game long, but here's the thing. Their struggle was the foul committing, because they committed 18 fouls and 2 of the guys nearly fouled out. But here's the thing. Even though that Damian Lillard did end up dropping 40 points, and the Portland Trailblazers had multiple 10-point leads because of it throughout the entire game. But once that fourth quarter hit, all the dominance that the Portland Trailblazers had started to really slow down, while the Denver Nuggets offensive firepower just kept on pushing. And thanks to Jamal Murray's clutchness, in that fourth quarter, he ended up dropping 14 of his 21 points and ended up getting the game-winning shot to beat the Trailblazers 121-120. But here's the thing. With the Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, he could have very well had the last point of the game if Jamal Murray didn't hit his shot, because it was 118-117 until Damian Lillard hit a 32-foot three-pointer to make it 120-118, and then Jamal Murray happened, and he ended up winning the game for Denver to make it 121-120. Now, with the reigning MVP Nikola Jokic, he had yet another game where he was either 1 rebound or 1 assist from notching his 80th triple-double of his career. And once he gets his 80th career triple-double, he will be the 6th player in NBA history to ever do so. And it's only a matter of time before he gets it. And it's also a matter of time before we hear the announcement of the 2022-2023 Heisman Trophy winner. And who could it be? Could it be Ohio State's quarterback C.J. Stroud? Could it be TCU's quarterback Max Duggan? Could it be USC's quarterback Caleb Williams? Or could it be Georgia's quarterback Stetson Bennett? Now, before we get into who could win it and who I think is going to win it, all the other awards other than the Heisman Trophy were given out last night, and the award winner and the biggest guys is who won this. So Caleb Williams ended up winning AP Player of the Year, and he got the Maxwell Award. TCU head coach Sonny Dykes got Coach of the Year. His quarterback, Max Duggan, got the Davey O'Brien Award. Bijan Robinson got the Doak Walker Award. Jalen Hyatt got the Biletnikoff Award. And Georgia's tight end, Brock Bowers, ended up getting the John Mackey Award. Now, all these players were great in their own right with their teams. And here's the thing. With what transpired this year, we witnessed one of the craziest and greatest college football seasons we could ever watch. We had multiple games where we can't decide on who was the game of the year. We had Utah versus Florida. We had Alabama versus Tennessee. We had Utah versus USC. There were so many to watch. It's so hard to pick. But here's the thing. This was the most surprising thing, is what a couple of teams did, and that was TCU and USC. These guys were the most surprising teams of the year, and the reason is because USC went 4-8 last year, while TCU went 5-7. Neither of these teams were bowl eligible last year, and now they completely flipped a switch because if USC did not lose to Utah, both of these teams could be in the playoff right now. But right now, it's just TCU. And because of Utah's victory over USC, and Utah has something on USC, because USC can never seem to figure out how to beat Utah. So right now, Utah has USC's number in that regard. But here's the thing. When it comes to USC, between USC and Lincoln Riley was hired by USC right before the season started, and he was able to get his quarterback, Caleb Williams, that committed to Oklahoma, of where he was originally coaching, but then they both went over to USC, and boy, did it work out beautifully. Now, with what Lincoln Riley and USC has done this year, what does it say more about, USC or Lincoln Riley? And without a shadow of a doubt, it says way more about Lincoln Riley, because he turned USC back into a winning football program in a matter of 1 year, and they were close. And there was a good chance where they could, if Lincoln Riley wasn't hired by USC, USC could have fallen into a bad path of where it was just maybe 4 to 6 wins like a few years in a row. But that did not happen thanks to Lincoln Riley. And what's even crazier is that Lincoln Riley has his 4th Heisman candidate in 6 years, and all 4 of his quarterbacks are Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, who won it back-to-back years. And then we had Jalen Hurts, who is up for the Heisman the very next year after that. But that year was when Joe Burrow happened, and nobody was better than Joe Burrow, because he had arguably he had the greatest quarterback season you could ever have by a quarterback in college football history, and he did it in the SEC, which is far more impressive. But now Lincoln Riley's 4th Heisman candidate is Caleb Williams. And now let's get into this Heisman talk. With what's transpiring for the Heisman right now, there was a couple, it wasn't all quarterbacks for the last few weeks of the season. It was Hendon Hooker, it was CJ Stroud, we had Blake Corum, we had Bijan Robinson. We had a few diversified players among the Heisman race. But ever since now after conference championship weekend ended, now it's straight quarterbacks. And right now, originally, my pick would have been CJ Stroud, because he had a great year all year long up until the biggest moment, because he hasn't beat Michigan, and he got whooped 45-23. So it looks like when it comes to the biggest moments, CJ Stroud will collapse. And with that, now my pick is Caleb Williams, because if you actually really look at, even though he wasn't in the spotlight that much this year, his production with USC was far more impressive than CJ Stroud, because it's normal to have a beast of a quarterback and a great quarterback at Ohio State, because Ohio State's dominant year in and year out. Like, it's extremely rare for Ohio State to be bad, let alone mediocre. But here's the thing. With Caleb Williams, what he's done with USC, like I said, he's been far more impressive. He won the Player of the Year and won the Maxwell Award. Now, at this point, because of Caleb Williams winning those two awards, it almost kind of says that it's a guarantee that Caleb Williams is going to win the Heisman. And I wouldn't doubt that he wouldn't get it because of what he's done with USC and what's more to come, because Caleb Williams is just getting started in his college career. He's got a couple more years of where he can play. So right now, my pick to win the Heisman is Caleb Williams. Now we just gotta wait and see to see if he's going to get it after having a top tier season. And top tier is the definition of the Tampa Bay Lightning, as they have been rocking and rolling in their 30th anniversary season. And in their 30th anniversary season, we're getting a first look at some new reverse retro uniforms, and it looks sick. And they played in them again against the Nashville Predators last night. But before I get into that game, John, the only reason that the Lightning are so successful and have been so dominant over the last 10 years is because of their head coach, John Cooper. He was the fastest to get to 400 wins, and now he is the fastest to get to 450 wins for an NHL head coach in NHL history. So, and what John Cooper has done completely and utterly proves that he has been the greatest coach in Tampa Bay Lightning history. Now, going into this game of Nashville versus Tampa, this game, these two like to hit each other because 80 hits were dished out. 45 hits were made by Nashville and 35 hits were made by Tampa. It's like it was a hitting festival. It was like almost every minute or every 30 seconds you were seeing a new hit on somebody. So, but throughout this game, Tampa was the more dominant team. Yes, Nashville was more rough, but here's the thing. Tampa wanted the victory more, and because of it, they were able to score 5 goals, 2 in the first and 3 in the third. Now, with Nashville, they fought as hard as they could, but they were no match for Tampa's speed. And within that, Nashville was able to get a couple of goals, and they were able to tie it up at 2 apiece late in the second period. But as soon as that third period started, all hell broke loose for Nashville, and the Tampa Bay Lightning showed absolutely no mercy. Along with those 3 goals, they smacked Nashville 15 times, and they didn't allow 1 goal, even though that Nashville shot 21 times. Phenomenal defense in that third period by the Tampa Bay Lightning. And because of all this dominance that Tampa showed in this game in the first and third period, they were able to win against Nashville, getting their 16th victory of the season, and they were able to win this game 5-2. So, with what Tampa has done over the last year and a half or so, they've actually had quite few milestones if you haven't noticed. And it's quite a bit just over the last year. Starting off, we had John Cooper get his 400th and 450th win. Braden Point got his 180th goal last night and is closing in on 400 points. And with speaking of points, Steven Stamkos just notched his 1,000th point against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And also, Nikita Kucherov is closing in on 400 assists. And when Andre Vasilevsky comes back, because Brian Elliott was the goalie last night, when Andre Vasilevsky comes back and in his next victory, he is going to get his 240th win. And for what the Lightning have done over 30 years, last year they were able to notch their 1,000th victory, and right now they're at their 1,052nd win. Now, with what Tampa has done over the last year and a half, and with what these players have done, getting all these great milestones, there is nothing else to say than it's just pure dominance. All right, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media whatsoever. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.